Hi, I'm Andy Green, Senior Advisor for Fair and Competitive Markets here at the United States Department of Agriculture. It's a pleasure to be here today to host this webinar on our proposed revisions to the regulations under the Packers and Stockyards Act of 1921, which we are currently soliciting comments on. I hope that during this webinar I can give you an easy-to-understand overview of our proposed rule and answer some of the questions and concerns that you may have. Before we start, let me say a couple of quick things about the regulatory process. It's really not as intimidating as it seems. It's great that you're already taking a few moments in this webinar to understand what USDA is proposing. When we're done, think about it and then submit your own comment to USDA through regulations.gov. If you search for transparency in poultry growing contracts and tournaments, or AMS-FTPP-21-0044-0001 on regulations.gov, you'll find the proposed rule. Select the rule and click on the blue comment button on the top and off you go. We truly read, consider, and respond to comments when we are writing the final rule that goes into effect about a month after we publish it in the Federal Register. Once that happens, it has the force of law. Our final rule will be better because of what you tell us through comments. In the proposed rule, USDA explains the rule in great detail, offers some economic analyses, and asks some questions. The text of the regulation is, near the end of page 35021, but you could skip down there. It's okay. It's only a few pages long. Read it and then read the introduction, the preamble, and the other parts of it, and you'll see exactly what we're proposing. Today's discussion is meant to help you understand the regulation and understand some things we at USDA would like to know. It's not a quiz. You're welcome to answer some of the questions we have asked in the proposal, even just one of the questions. Or you don't need to even answer any specific question. Just tell us about poultry growing contracts and what you think about this rule. Would it help you? Would it not? How could it be better? Why? We invite all members of the public to submit comments on this rule. And don't be shy about disagreeing with us or anyone else. We hope to get this right, and the only way we can do that is by hearing from you. So tell us what you think. Now let's jump into the rule itself. USDA has proposed a rule, known as a regulation, that would set certain requirements on live poultry dealers. Live poultry dealers are also known as integrators. We intend the proposed rule to make poultry a more transparent business that works better for everyone. The proposed rule, Transparency in Poultry Growing, Contracting, and Tournaments, is designed to increase transparency in the poultry tournament system and poultry contracting system overall. Our objective is to provide poultry growers with the information they need to make informed business decisions and prevent growers from being deceived. The proposed rule has two main parts. Each part requires integrators to give information to growers. The first part of the proposed rule would provide growers with information about the entire poultry growing contract. The second part of the proposed rule would provide information to growers about the inputs they receive under a poultry grower ranking system or tournament. Currently, growers take on a large amount of financial risk when contracting with live poultry dealers to raise chickens or other poultry. Typically, the revenues generated from these business agreements are critical for the grower so that they can meet loan payments or other financial obligations necessary to stay solvent. And also, currently, integrators control the provision of inputs, such as chicks and feed, to most growers. Unfortunately, concentration in the poultry sector has resulted in very few options for most growers. Growers can only contract with a few poultry dealers near them. Many growers have complained to USDA over the years that the lack of choice results in unfavorable contract terms for growers. When negotiating a contract, growers lack the information they need, such as how many flocks they'll get under a contract, the types or nature of the inputs they receive, and how the inputs can affect the outcomes of the tournament. By not having adequate information, growers are placed at various risks and left at a disadvantage in the management of their farming operations. These are the type of problems our rule aims to address by establishing a higher level of transparency to contracting. Transparency is not new to poultry. There already are some disclosures that are made. We're proposing, however, to revise and expand the list of mandatory disclosures that live poultry dealers make to growers. The Poultry Transparency Rule proposes two main things. First, the proposed rule would require a live poultry dealer disclosure document that would give growers key information about their poultry contract, how it would work, what they can reasonably expect to earn before making important contracting decisions, such as agreeing to start a poultry growing arrangement or agreeing to additional capital investments. The information in this poultry disclosure document would include the minimum number of bird placements per year and stocking density, payments realized by other growers in prior years and compared to other complexes, broken out into quintiles or 5 groupings of performance ranges, so that growers can see exactly the full range of expected outcomes. Additionally, the document would provide information about an integrator's bankruptcy and litigation history, sale of farm policies, and contact information for the Packers and Stockyards division, including our hotline phone number. Contact information for local USDA extension and other external resources. When live poultry dealers provide the poultry disclosure document to growers, the disclosures would have to be honest. Live poultry dealers would have to keep records and have their principal executive officer confirm the accuracy and honesty of the disclosure process. Poultry growers would also be able to discuss the information with others, including key advisors and business partners. The proposed rule would require live poultry dealers to provide a poultry disclosure document to the grower with any poultry growing contract and any upgrade. It would not be limited to the use of the tournament system because growers need to know the financial risks and opportunities they are entering into regardless of payment system. Small live poultry dealers, those harvesting less than 2 million live pounds of poultry weekly, would be proposed to be exempt from these contracting disclosure requirements. Second, the proposed rule would require tournament-specific disclosures to poultry growers who are paid using a poultry grower ranking system. That is, where payment is based on the growers being grouped, ranked, or compared to each other, also known as a tournament. Specifically, growers would receive critical information about the type or nature of the inputs at 2 times, at placement and at settlement. When growers receive a placement, they get information on stocking density of the placement, the ratio of breeds of the poultry delivered, if the live poultry dealer has determined the sex of the birds, then the ratio of male and female poultry delivered, the breeder facility the chicks come from, the breeder flock's age, any known health impairment to the chicks, and adjustments, if any, that the live poultry dealer may make to the calculation of the grower's pay based on the inputs. At settlement, the rule would also require disclosures that show the distribution of the inputs, the housing specification, and any feed disruption for all the growers in the tournament, names excluded. USDA designed these proposed settlement disclosures and input disclosures to prevent deception and give growers the chance to understand the relative importance of inputs and housing investments and skills. And growers can use disclosures to plan and improve their ability to compete and deliver positive outcomes. That's it. That's what it does. We hope you'll take a few moments to comment on it. Whoever you may be, poultry grower, an integrator, big or small, member of the community, or any member of the public. Let me now also share a few questions we've received. We've received several questions around the nature of the obligations and duties placed on live poultry dealers. So our answer would be, we encourage you to share your views on the obligations and duties placed on live poultry dealers. Do they make sense to you? Do they do enough to benefit growers, the public, or yield other benefits? So another question. Some have asked about what types of contracts are tournament contracts. So our answer would be, let me underscore that the proposed rule includes a definition of poultry grower ranking system, which means in the rule, a system where the contract between the live poultry dealer and the poultry grower provides for payment to the poultry grower based upon a grouping, ranking, or comparison of poultry growers delivering poultry during a specified period. We encourage anyone who has views on that definition to share their views in the comment. What do they think the definition should be? What do you think the definition should be? Recognize that this is important because the input disclosures are tied to payment under a tournament system. So, when are the input disclosures most useful? When are they not useful? In conclusion, the Packers and Stockyards Act is crucial for protecting farmers and ranchers from excessive concentration and unfair and deceptive practices in the poultry, hog, and cattle markets. Much has changed in the 100 years since the passage of the Packers and Stockyards Act of 1921. Changes to the agricultural industry over the years have resulted in increased concentration, decreased competition, and have threatened the resiliency of our food systems. To address problems created by the evolution of this sector, USDA must evolve as well. We must modernize to meet the needs of today's farmers and ranchers and guarantee consumers have uninterrupted access to a nutritious food supply. USDA's recent announcements and rulemaking actions show our commitment to do just that. Increased transparency is the starting point for modernizing our rules, protecting producers, and countering the damaging effects of concentration. By ensuring that growers have access to the information they need to make informed contract decisions, we also are improving their chances of success and ensuring more vibrant rural communities. We hope this webinar was informative and helpful to those who were able to join. We will post a recording of this webinar and encourage you to share it with anyone you think may benefit from learning more about our efforts to create a more even playing field for farmers and ranchers, and in doing so, create a more secure and resilient food supply for all Americans. The comment period is not over, and we encourage you to submit comments. Again, comments must be submitted through the federal e-rulemaking portal at www.regulations.gov or www.federalregister.gov. And they should reference the document number and date and page number of the Federal Register. All comments submitted in response to this proposed rule will be included in the record and will be made available to the public. That includes the identity of individuals or entities commenting. The Federal Register allows you to comment anonymously, but you will be filing a document into an official record. Any personal information included in your submission to us may be publicly viewable on the web. Lastly, if you have concerns regarding violations of the Packers and Stockyards Act, please contact the Packers and Stockyards Division at 1-833-DIAL-PSD. I want to thank you again for joining us today for our webinar on the transparency in poultry grower contracting and tournaments rule. Have a wonderful day.